Scientists proved the importance of chemistry, physics, and biology in our everyday life a long time ago. They affect every aspect of humans' life and interact with all our activities. However, a lot of people still ignorant of them, which at the end of the day may cause disastrous results. In some cases, this may lead to little consequences. This presentation will focus on most stupid deaths after ignoring of scientific law, namely physics or chemistry. The first example will show the massive scale of disease and deaths. It is the story about radium element and its application in cosmetics, watch manufacture, and even water. In the first 30 years of 20th century, different industries such as makeup factories, bottled water manufacture, production of test tubes, butter, even watches contained radium. People believed that radioactive element may help them to have bright teeth, to kill bacteria, to have shining skin, and tongue. Moreover, marketing agencies said that radium is safe for our health and therefore trend on radium continued and widened. The numbers in watches were covered by radium, thus they can glow in the night. The problem is that the time workers on watch plants covered with radium using their tongues, as other methods were not efficient. That is why they were always under the radiation. After several years, 58 out of 70 workers of factory died because of excess amount of radium in their organism. In addition to this, a lot of people died after using other products made of radium. However, till 1950s, such productions didn't stop. Only with the invention of the first nuclear weapon, people started to acknowledge that the breaking down of highly unstable atom can take people's lives. The question is, why is it so? The chemistry is very simple here, because the 6-ms3 is yearly dose for every person. Above this amount, person may have serious problems as a result of radioactive decay. This means that people who drank water with radium or used such makeup had overdose of radioactive elements. How it works? Radiation actually is caused by the breaking down of atom into less particles. It happens because the stability of atom is very low and unstable nature of them leads to the alpha decay or radioactive decay. It's highly disastrous for people because radiation stops the most important process in human body, which is the division of cells. It's a continuous process where cells die and born all the time, whereas radiation prevents the emergence of new ones, killing the existing cells. It's obvious that without division of cells, human organism will have problems, because organs will not function and overall work of the body will be disrupted. It happens in a way that radiation breaks down H2O molecules into free ions and radicals such as H+ and OH-, which in turn react with other elements in the cell which actually should not take place. Therefore, the whole chain of reactions will stop and this has resulted in killing of cells. Because such complicated process, thousands of people died in the first half of 20th century. Hope humanity will not repeat its mistakes and pay more attention to the laws of nature and science, at least for their own individual security.
The next example is the collapse of the bridges. In 1905, the Egyptian bridge in St. Petersburg collapsed. On this day, a squadron of the Horse Regiment marched through it. Passers-by were admiring the proud warriors and the horses that beat their hoofs according to the beats of the march. An amazingly beautiful bridge, decorated with hieroglyphs and different Egyptian jewelry, started to oscillate. Its natural frequency and the frequency of the march fatally coincided. Many soldiers fell into the icy waters of Fontanka and eventually died. This march is now present in many physics textbooks in the chapters about resonance, because it is exactly the reason of the collapse. Mechanical resonance is a tendency of a mechanical system to respond at a greater amplitude when the frequency of its oscillations matches the system's natural frequency of vibration, its resonance frequency or resonant frequency, than it does at other frequencies. This oscillation would reach a maximum peak when the bridge can no longer sustain its own strength and hence collapses. This is a phenomenon known as resonance disaster. A resonant frequency can only be hit if several conditions are met. The source must be extremely powerful, the pulse of force must be sent out at a very precise frequency, and there must be no other frequencies interfering it. All of those requirements were met when the soldiers marched on the bridge while remaining completely in step. There is a 1 in a billion chance of the soldiers' march hitting that perfect frequency, but in this case it seems they did. And because of this, now soldiers are ordered to break their marching steps while crossing a bridge. Another example of elementary forced resonance is a bridge that collapsed because normal speed of winds produced aeroelastic flutter that matched the bridge's natural frequency. This was demonstrated by the collapse of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge in 1940, which collapsed just 4 months after its completion. So, winds also conserve just in the same way as ordered march of soldiers. Avoiding resonance disaster is a major concern in every building and tower and bridge construction project. Engineers must ensure that the mechanical resonant frequencies of the component parts do not match driving vibrational frequencies of the strong motors or other strongly oscillating parts to avoid death of people.
The third incident is connected with persons' ignorance of chemistry basics and the nature of combustion. 72-year-old woman was relaxing at her home and lighting her cigar. Seems nothing special, but she was smoking benzene and oxygen back and smoking simultaneously. She died as a result of severe burns. Burning is a chemical process by which two atoms or molecules will combine with each other and release energy as a result. When the molecules combine and release energy, it is released in the form of heat and often light. Usually, one of the two molecules is oxygen. Oxygen itself is not flammable, but it does support combustion. The combustion of most materials requires a fuel, a heat source, and an oxidizing agent. We have an oxidizer, which is oxygen, in cigar light as a heat source. The fuel can be gases emitted from the back material. Most patients on home oxygen use nasal cannula. Nasal cannula tubing is a polyvinyl chloride product which, when ignited, emits an intense flame, possibly owing to the release of highly flammable vinyl chloride gas. The prongs of a cannula are intended to direct oxygen into the nose. However, studies show that a significant amount of oxygen exits the nose and constantly leaks out and bathes the lower face. An oxygen-enriched environment facilitates ignition and combustion of any material. To reduce the possibility of ignition, the following precautions should be taken. Naked flames and spark-producing equipment must be avoided. Smoking must be strictly forbidden. The use of cosmetic oil and grease should be strictly forbidden. Precautions should be taken to avoid static electricity.
Our next incident happened when 21-year-old Vietnamese Nguyen was drinking with his friends in Hanoi. During their gathering, he decided to boast of an explosive found by him and which was from the time of the Vietnam War. The explosive was 6 centimeters in length and 8 in diameter, with 2 protruding wires. It was also old and rusty. This is why Nguyen argued that the explosive will not explode, while his friends disagreed. To prove his correctness, Nguyen stuck the explosive in his mouth and asked others to shove wires into a 220-volt outlet. The explosive, however, worked properly. According to police, the blast tore off his jaw and ripped cheeks. He died on the way to the hospital. In this case, Nguyen did not think that even if he was right, a 220-volt shot into the oral cavity itself could be fatal for his life, as such voltage poses a danger. Moreover, notwithstanding the fact that the explosive is old, it can be still dangerous during improper use. This is the end of our video. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for your attention. Короче,